today's a work day in the kitchen. I'm gonna get a bunch done while my kids are gone. But I have something that I've needed to take care of for several weeks now, and I thought that that might be a fun thing to show you. Right now, I'm working on pickling some cucumbers. So I like a crunchy pickle. I do not like them to get soggy personally. So I kind of do all the tips to keep them crunchy, and so far it's worked. So one of the tips is cutting off the blossom end. So this little guy right here, I actually cut both ends off just because I prefer it that way. I don't know if that may be an added trick. No one has ever said that. But that's one thing that I do. And then another thing that I do is I put a bay leaf in to each can right before I process them in the canner. And then the other thing I do, which is what I'm preparing to do right now, is soak them in salt. So I'll just pour salt all over this, rub it really good, and put it in the refrigerator for at least 6 hours. I've seen people say you can do an ice bath with it. I've never done that. It kind of seems like a lot of work, and so far this works for me. Now, I've never opened a jar of pickles after a year, so I don't know what it'd be like to open a jar of pickles that's a year old. Maybe they get soggier. I took some to a family event. I think it was Memorial Day. I was really proud of my pickles because they taste like my granny's, or I think they do. And a family member who's older than me was like, well, just wait for them to sit. They'll probably get mushy. But I just opened a jar up 2 days ago from that same processing time, and they were quite crispy. So I do think this helps. This will go to the pigs or the chickens. Okay, so really why I got the camera out was to go ahead and process this that I've been infusing for 3 months now. I didn't intend to infuse it for 3 months, but it will only get better. We have plantain that grows out all over our property, and so I harvested a good amount of plantain, and then I also have some comfrey and calendula. So that's what's in here, with a really, really high quality olive oil. They've been infusing together, like I said, for way too long. You really can let them infuse like 3 to 4 weeks. I'm gonna show you guys how to process this out. You can do this with any herb, but this is especially beneficial for an herb that you're going to use on the skin. That's why you're putting it in the oil. That's the point of it. So all of these herbs are very healing. I'm going to make a healing balm with it. We'll use on cuts, scrapes, rashes, bug bites, diaper rash. You can use it for a nipple cream as well. And I was taught how to do this by a midwife friend of mine. So I thought I would take you along to show you how I put it together. All right, so like I said, this has been sitting for quite some time in some high quality olive oil. And I filled up the jar about 3/4 the way with the herb, and then filled the oil to the top. And now we're gonna put it through a sieve here and let it all drain out. Now, because there's a good amount of herb in there, I'm going to have to help the oil come out of it. So that's what we're gonna do first. So like I said, the plantain grows naturally on our property, which is super cool. Like it's a weed, it's kind of like dandelion. The comfrey and the calendula are newer herbs that I just planted this year for this reason. And I harvested a good amount, but I also had some loose leaf that I threw in there just to get a little bit more, because it takes a good amount of harvest to get the amount that you're going to actually need to be able to use. And since it's the first year and I'm learning, and you know, it hasn't reseeded or anything, so okay, so what I'm doing is just pushing all this oil out through the sieve as much as I can. All right, so we're gonna see how much that yielded. And we've got right at 1/3 of a cup. Since we've got 1/3 of a cup of this, I'm gonna do 1/3 cups of the infused oil. And then I'm gonna eyeball 1/3 of a cup of just some shea, so organic shea with nothing in it, shea butter. I actually got this at Walmart, so it's pretty easy to come by. We're going to do 1/3 of a cup of beeswax. That's gonna just help it hold its structure a little more. And then we're going to do, I don't usually do equal parts of the tallow. This is beef tallow here, just because it will make it too runny when it's melted down. So maybe about 1/4 of a cup. And then last, depending on what your use is for, so my kids are old enough to have essential oils on them. I don't have to worry about that anymore with like a baby. And I'm not using this as a nipple butter. I'm not breastfeeding. So this is just going to be topical for us. We're gonna do some frankincense and some lavender. So I'm gonna do 10 drops of the frankincense and 20 drops of the lavender. And then we're just going to put it on the stovetop and let it all melt down. Once everything's melted down and incorporated, you can put it into your jar. So we'll do that first. So you can really take the same approach making any sort of topical cream. So whether that be a face cream at night or it be like a sports cream for sore muscles, you can change up your essential oils, what you're putting in it. All of these ingredients would actually do just fine to use as a moisturizer on the face or all over the body. Sometimes I make things and I've added a few extra things to it and it's like, ooh, I'm gonna use that all over my body's lotion so it goes faster. Another way you can do it, and maybe I'll do another video, is my postpartum doula taught me how to make a moisturizer using ghee. I'm super picky about what goes on my body. And so this is a nice way to save a little bit of money and know exactly what's in it, but for 1/4 of the price. And especially whenever you're harvesting things that just grows as a weed, that's gonna save you a whole lot of money. And pour it in your little jar here. Ooh, making a mess. And it really took me 5 minutes to throw all of that together, and it took me 5 minutes, you know, several weeks ago to throw all of this together. You can put it in the refrigerator, it will harden up, it'll stay that way. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done, but woo, it smells so good. So good. Well, I've moved on to my peach jam, but this is a little jar that I made for my mom and it's already hardened, so I thought I would show it. So you can see, just a really nice, and I had a little fight with my rooster here, so I'm trying to heal this. You can see how it goes on. So nourishing. So you can also order the herbs loose from the bulk herb store or off Amazon if you don't have them in your backyard. Plantains aren't in season anymore, so you would have to order them in bulk dried if you're planning to make this anytime soon. But you can use any herbs, make your own salve.